Coming to you from the Lone Star Studio in Austin, Texas, with another episode of Til'ton the Scales. Here are your hosts, Chet the Heartbreak Kid Bowen, Walter the Wise Man Hall, and Nate Logan.
All right, good evening, guys. This is I'm coming to you from the Lone Star Studio. Chet, you're in Goffstown, and Wally, you're in Hill.
Straight
This
out,
is the
straight
fifth
out the basement.
episode. Hell yeah, straight out of Compton. I mean, straight out of Hill. This is the fifth episode. Let's go ahead and get it started.
Let's
How
go.
was your Wally? How was your week so far?
You know, the Celtics season started, and I know we'll get into it in more depth, but I'm on cloud nine right now. The Patriots are headed for the first draft pick. The Celtics are headed for the first spot in the NBA. Like, life is good, just as I called it, just as I expected it. It's been good. Thanks for asking, Nate. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. This is we're doing this on a Wednesday to appease hopefully both of you. Hopefully this will free up your Friday and you guys can take a mental health day and maybe take the wife out for dinner on a date night. Who knows? But Chet, how's your week going?
It's going great so far. Thank you both for doing this tonight for me, because I literally think this is important. And I was like, oh man, I can't miss Friday. So I asked you guys for a favor and you both did it. And that, trust me when I tell you, most people don't do that. So thank you very much. And the week's going well. I found out that Cameron, apparently, from his coach, he's the top rated JV quarterback, which means
Nice.
basically at that young of an age, that means he didn't throw an interception, which he hasn't. So that's good. But he only throws 2 passes a game. So, but, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. And the week is going very, very well. My daughter became captain of her cheer team for the second time going into the winter. So life is good. Life is good. And Nate, again, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. It's a Wednesday. My week is almost over. It's hump day, right? We're almost a couple more days and it's the weekend. So, but speaking of mental health, like I said, we'll take Friday for a mental health day. I'd like to touch basis again on mental health. We posted a video. Til'ton the Scales posted a video about mental health on Mental Health Day. It was fairly popular. I used some of the techniques that the Army uses, but I went into a little bit of depth on mental health on the interwebs and took a look at some stuff, just some other mental health exercises. I just wanted to briefly go over them. Maybe you guys touch base on something that you specifically do, when you feel like you need a mental health exercise or something.
Yep.
Again, some people don't realize, but a lot of the times mental health is literally a mental exercise. Like, it's changing your train of thought, changing the way you think throughout the day, changing your thought process in general. Normally, in order to do that, you've got to actually stop and think about it and do something that mentally brings you in that direction. So there's a few exercises. One was mindful meditation, journaling, which we touched on in the video, some gratitude practice, which in the video I kind of combined the two, which is again a method that the Army used to use, gratitude practice and journaling. There's a breathing exercise. There's also progressive muscle relaxation, some visualization, some physical activity, some self-compassion exercises, which is probably actually important. Practice being kind to yourself, especially during challenging times, and acknowledge your feelings without harsh judgments. That was also something I kind of went into about, celebrate the little victories. That social connection was another, and digital detox, which, not all of us want to go into the what was it that Aaron Rodgers called it, the darkness retreat.
Yeah.
Not all of us will do that, but digital detox, get outside, go for a walk instead of sitting down and Googling things, doing something on social media, watching TikTok, etc. So, is there anything specifically that you do, Chet, maybe with your family or yourself? Just
sure.
as like a mental health exercise.
Yeah, well, it's potentially different from what most people do, or maybe it's very common. But given where I came from, I often stop and look at my life, my house, my kids, and I literally stop and go, I am grateful for these things. I may not have the things that the very top people, the very top 1% have, but I'm able to look around and be like, man, maybe I shouldn't even be here. And then when I ask that question, I go, how did I get here? I'm like, man, you made some significant choices. Also, there's a man right here on this podcast who helped me a lot. His name is Wally, who one time at a crossroads in my life, I had a conversation with him and he was like, yeah, man, did you think about this? And I was like, no, I did not. And you are correct. So I'm very grateful all the time for like where I'm at right now. So like I think that's the mental health exercise for me is like I've had good people in my life. I've been lucky to have that. And you never forget that stuff. So feeling grateful, I think, is the biggest thing to mental health, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you for sure. That's also part of the journaling and gratitude and like, you know,
Yep.
your kids don't know where you come from unless you know they're old enough to understand and you physically take them there and explain
Yes.
to them. You know, because we want better for them. We provide more for them than we had. That's why we, you know, that's just inherently in our nature. I think as parents, that's what we want to do. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what. If you don't mind me asking, what was the thing that Wally told you to think about?
Oh, I was at a weird place and I had my first big job in my life. The first actual big job where I had responsibility. I was like, oh man, maybe I need a prescription for like, you know, like something to help me focus. And while I'm literally driving over the Zakin Bridge in Boston, and Wally's like, you think you need that? I'm sorry. Do you have a bachelor's degree? Sure do, Wally. Oh, cool. Do you have a master's degree? Yeah, I do. You think you need a prescription to help you?
with work that you didn't need
I was
to
like,
accomplish your like
I was like,
scholastic goals. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, maybe I might be overthinking this a little bit. And then it was more of that like in that moment I made a decision and I was like, all right, I'm good. And that's the beauty of having really good friends in your life. Like
Well,
I
that's
don't remember why I called you, Wally. Maybe you do. But I called you and that happened to come up in conversation and you said that to me and I was like, if you're not going to listen to one of your best friends in the whole world,
well, that's what it is,
listen
right?
to.
That's what it is, and it's about relationships. And I think my answer to your question, Nate, is when in regards to how do you take care of your mental health, and I think it is by nurturing and building caring and close relationships in your life, right? Like at my core and at moments like that, I wish I have people that are going to tell me the absolute truth. And in that instance, it was not it was me knowing you and knowing your personality and me knowing, like, again, a perfectly viable medical decision, but me knowing the impacts of such a decision and what it would have in your life, and didn't feel like it was a good thing because I had a relationship. We have a relationship where we can be honest with each other, we be open with each other, and I can say that without fear of you misconstruing my intent, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's an exercise in mental health and being able to have as many, because you can't make new old friends, right? Like, you can't make new old friends. They're people I have that are closest to me are the friends I've had for 20 years. It is hard to you can't make new 20-year-old friends, right? This doesn't happen. So, like, for me and in my life and in my well-being, my mental health, it is not only relationships, but it's kind of overlay. And it's funny, we've been talking about this at work lately. It's kind of the way you look at life. And we've been talking a lot about choosing love and social emotional learning. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the concepts of social emotional learning, but it's kind of an overlay of how you look at life and how you go through your decision making in every interaction you have with people. And we do it for our students and we do it for our staff, but it's something that you talk about it enough that you start to kind of, it seeps into your pores and it invades your brain, and it changes the way you look at people and the way you interact with people. And if you hope that everybody can choose love in every interaction they have, the world's gonna be a much better place. And that's overly simplifying it, but for me, that's kind of like, if I can give off the energy that I need to receive that nourishes me, I think that that's going to be a lasting positive impact. And that's certainly how I try to spend my energy. And that's how I try to take care of myself, by putting out what I want back in return.
For sure.
And I think our relationship exemplifies that.
It does.
I like the fact we can give each other our time. I like the fact we can be honest and open in our dialogue, and that kind of nourishes me and helps keep me going.
Yeah, no, same. And Nate, I hope we do that for you on occasion. You're not as like Wally and Nate, keep me honest. I would say I'm the most vulnerable as far as what I express of all three of us, because I do have that trust in you guys. I would say Wally, you might be second, and Nate, you're probably third. Like, you're not as vulnerable, but I think deep down that we would absolutely, support you in whatever you say or whatever you need or whatever is going on. And, again, I stand by that, but I'm trying to be careful what I say.
Well, that ship has sailed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like,
too late.
You just called him a pussy.
I would
I did not.
I would definitely agree that you're probably more apt to be vocal and reach out for sure with an issue, because you maybe you do trust us, as well as in a sense value our opinion.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we're experienced individuals in this world, and you should seek out people that you value their opinions. And and I would agree that I'm probably like the least likely to reach out to one of you guys when I have an issue or a question or want some advice on something dealing specifically with emotional life lessons or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's definitely not a strength of mine either. Like, it's not something I excel at. I certainly, I view it as a strength. Like, the ability to reach out when you need help or have a question is certainly a strength of character, not a flaw. And it's something that I have been actively working on. It's something that I still have a ways to go, but I've certainly, I think, made strides, in something that I intend to continue to focus on.
Can you share, Wally, like what strides you made? Like, what have you done?
I've just been more honest. I've been more willing to talk. I'm one that tends to close off. Like, if I'm not comfortable, I'm just not going to talk. And that will kind of permeate every relationship in my life. If I'm not comfortable, I'll be quiet. I can listen. And I have tried to speak up more often and more openly when I'm frustrated with something, versus just allowing it to kind of eat away at me and kind of like suffer in silence. I've been more willing to speak up. Which may not be everyone else's favorite attribute of me, but I feel like for my own well-being, it certainly helps.
Oh, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Nate, what about you?
I mean, I'm in the same boat as Wally, where I'm trying. If you guys remember, I'll share something personal. If you guys remember, a couple weeks ago, I sent you guys on our little chat thread. It was a Saturday, and we had just Wally in our little group. And in our episode that particular week, Wally had said something about, he invites trolling. He wants to go back and forth with some people. And I had received something from my biological.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I reached out to you guys, and that was something that really bothered me. And I honestly didn't know how to handle it. Yeah. So that was me reaching out.
I appreciate seriously, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and I think it was brave, and I we have your back for the rest of time. This is not a joke. We all have each other's back. Like, that's a nice feeling, right? Like, we all have each other's back. And when you reached out and he said that, Wally, I think you did a wonderful job articulating a response. Usually that's, I was like, usually that's what I do. And I was like, that was so good. That was so good. So I hope that helped, Nate.
No, it did for sure. And again, yes, you guys helped a lot, extremely. And I actually did something on this, the breathing exercise. I did something, the breathing exercise on this
Nice.
slide that we're going over, and I didn't even know what it was at the time, but I was actually exercising that, and I don't know what it was or why specifically. It was like a trigger for some reason, and I don't know. I went into a dark place. Literally, I was there for like probably 3 hours. So
Well, anytime, man.
Well,
Like,
hats off to you for reaching out because again, I think you made the right decision, and even if it's just to kind of bounce an idea, and in that case, you say, "Hey, I'm thinking this, and I want to say this," and sometimes it's nice to have a sounding board where someone can say, maybe you're a little aggressive, or someone can say, "Man, you hit the nail on the head." But I think it's nice to have a sounding board of people that their advice, and I hope you know this about us, is that our advice, and I'm confident your advice to me would be from the heart, from how I feel would be the best way for you to handle it. And there's no ulterior motives. It's just
yeah,
honest, open dialogue about, hey man, I looked at it from this perspective.
yep.
And that's all I can hope for. And again, the more good relationships you can have in your life, the more people you can be open and honest with, the healthier you are. And I'm certain there are studies, and I'm not one that's going to quote studies, but I can guarantee you that the people with the most sound mental health are the ones that have the most trusting relationships. Um, I'm talking statistically. I don't know if I can prove that, but it feels that way to me.
Well,
no,
you're one of
yeah,
them. You're one of them, Ollie. You're one of those few people that I certainly know I can count on that follows through. And Nate, you're the same. And that's why we're sitting here doing this podcast, right? Sorry. My voice is still kind of gone, so I cough every now and then. I apologize.
It's a lot better, man. I can understand what you're saying.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So just to recap, the breathing exercise that I did was on this they term it the 4-7-8 method. So
The square, yeah.
you're supposed to find a comfortable position, lie down, and you minimize your distractions. You breathe in quietly through your nose for a count of 4. You hold your breath for a count of 7, and you inhale through your mouth without a whooshing sound to keep basically the meditation and the distraction down. And then you count to 8 on the exhale, and you're supposed to continue that for 4 breaths. But yeah,
Is that working?
I mean, it worked then. I think
Good.
throughout my life and throughout like my military career, everything that I've learned about mental health, the exercises, like I've done them all before I knew exactly what they are, learned about them. I guess that's one of the reasons why I was a pretty big advocate for like the mental health stuff that we did in the Army. The funny thing about the mental health program in the Army is like all the leadership, senior leaders are supposed to go through the training. They're supposed to implement the training. It's at the commander's discretion once you get down to the company level, but it's supposed to be like a quarterly practice. Like you hold a block of instructions quarterly, but that's not enough. In all honesty, it's like a quarter. If you're hitting it once every 3 months, like it's not enough for the soldiers. And honestly, that's an Army requirement, like throughout the organization. So if they're only essentially holding you to that standard, that I think the Army is going to find out very quickly, and they already have. It just takes a long time for things to change in the Army, but they're going to find out they need to do more of that and implement like once a month training on that to like capitalize on really instilling that behavior. So yeah, we're done talking about mental health now. I'm glad we touched on it and got a chance to talk about
Exactly.
it. All right, moving on though, we're going to talk about. We'll start with the Celtics.
Yes,
And
please.
we went through a good review. Wally gave us basically his preview that was posted as well. we're all excited. I'm
Nailed
excited.
it. I nailed it for game one, right? I hit every nail in the head.
You did. 81 more, right? 81 more to go. But I'm of course this is going to be the revenge tour. Uh, I'm excited for many reasons, but we know what the revenge tour means to definitely Tatum and Brown, and they looked like they were ready to continue that throughout the next 81 games as well, based off of last night's performance. But the part that also makes me like say that the back to back is almost solidified is that nobody else got better. Like, I mean, we didn't really have anything to add, but we kept the core together. We added a couple smaller pieces here and there, but we also, our competitors, the Knicks, tried to get better, but they're the ones that are trying to follow our blueprint. They went out and got some pieces, but their blueprint is like all their pieces are sitting on the construction site, waiting for the foundation to be built. Like, you know, the foundation they should already know is defense. Like, our defense is just going to suffocate people all season with the intensity that Brown and Tatum are going to bring to the team. I think it's going to be contagious. And again, nobody got better to the point where they're going to challenge. So I am worried. The only ones that I think are going to challenge are Cleveland and Miami. But the others that are supposed to challenge and be as good or compete, I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't think Philly adding Paul George changes things? Now, Philly's one of those teams where let's be honest, and again, you know, let there be no illusions about where my allegiance lie. I'm very vocal, right? And we're clear about who our roots were here. Philly got demonstrably better. Paul George is a legitimate NBA superstar, added to Maxey and Embiid, and that gives you a big three that matches up with anybody in the league. And that in game one, notwithstanding, that Knicks team I think got better. I mean, Cat's a 20-10 guy. He's not a defensive presence, but neither necessarily was the guy they traded him for. They got a good starting five. I don't know what happened to Bridges last night. Like, holy cow! He played 15? Like, that's a story for another day. I think a lot of teams. I think that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be better. I think another year with Giannis and Dame Lillard on the same team, they're only going to get better together if they can stay healthy. I mean, the East has a lot of it. To say Miami, I don't even know that Miami's a borderline playoff team. Get the fuck out of Dodge. Talk to me about Miami. What were they, a 7 seed left? Listen, Miami can get the fuck out of here. I hate Miami. Let me tell you something about Miami. Tell me something about Miami. They're the best coached team in the like. They're as well coached as anybody in the league. That he can take role players and make a team of contenders. But at some point, the facade's got to fall away. Like, they're not good. They're just not good. Jimmy Butler's 35 years old. God, I hate Miami. They're probably our biggest rival right now as a Celtics fan. Like, it's Miami, right? Like, they're our new Lakers. The Lakers aren't our rival. It's Miami. We play Miami 7 games every season in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's true. So Miami, but like to your point, they don't hold a candle. Like, outside fan, remember? When I see it, Miami, no chance, no threat. So why do you see a threat?
So you don't think? So you agree with Wally, Chet?
The outside. No, Wally has a way more like inner circle understanding. I look at it and I'm like, no, the Boston Celtics are the best. They're the best.
Yes, I agree with you. Wally's response was very well thought out and educated,
and mine's not.
Spoken like a true Boston Celtics fan. No, I'm not saying that.
God damn it!
I'm just, you know, I'm going along with what you were saying. But Wally, I don't think Philadelphia is going to challenge at all, because Embiid's already said he's not going to do back-to-backs. He's not playing in the opener. He's not even going to play all week. Paul George is going to be the same.
None of that matters. If he gets in, if that Philly team gets to the 8th seed healthy, boy, oh boy, Embiid, a healthy Embiid at 100% is not stoppable. You can't stop him. So then you have guys like Paul George, who's equally hard to guard. Maxey, who's getting, I think Maxey might be the better player this year, might be the best player in the team this year. And if that's the case, boy, I'm telling you, don't look past this Philly team.
No, I'm not looking past them. They exist for sure, but if Paul George and Embiid play half the season and are still healthy, they're still going to be dealing with issues with continuity with the rest of the team. So by the time they get to the playoffs, then again they're dealing with the Celtics team that's played together all year round. They're going to be the top. They're going to be the top defensive team in the league again, and they're just. I don't care how healthy Embiid is. They're not going to. It's going to be exactly like it was last year. The Celtics should walk through the East to get to the finals.
I'm really just playing devil's advocate. Like, I know this, and the Celtics are far the best team in basketball. But I'm not going to sit here and say and allow you to say that the rest of the teams haven't got better, because Philly has gotten significantly better. The Knicks have gotten significantly better. They have. I don't think that's arguable. They've gotten better. They are more designed to try to beat the Celtics now. That Cleveland team's another year older. Like, I agree with you about Cleveland. They might be the third best team in the East. Miami's a bum, but I agree with the other part of what you said.
No, I think Miami's one of the better coach teams in the league.
Yes,
I think they're gonna. I think the way the East ends up, Boston will be 1, Cleveland will be 2, Miami will probably be in the top 4.
No, get out of town.
Yeah.
Miami's an 8 seed at best. Best case for the Miami is they get in the play-in tournament, and then Jimmy Butler can play in the playoffs, and if he's healthy, there'll be a tough beat. But he's coming in at the 8 seed. That Miami team's not talented. Get the fuck out of here. Top 4. You don't really believe that, do you?
No, he doesn't.
Let your hate. Hate is clouding your vision, Wally. You're like a Sith. You're like a Sith Lord right now. You're thinking in absolutes. Like, your hate is clouding your judgment.
So let's play it out. We got the Celtics number 1.
Mm-hmm.
You think Cleveland number 2?
Yeah.
The Knicks are number 3.
Yep. Potentially. Again, last night was one game, but their defense was atrocious. We got 61 3-pointers up in that game, Wally. The only reason that happens is because they're not playing defense, or they quit. Yeah, and both of them are terrible.
Defense in the NBA is an accumulative thing. The team has to get better. These guys are just coming to better. The Celtics have played championship level basketball for 2+ years. The core's been together for 5 years. So it's hard. You can't judge a season based on game 1. That New York has solid defenders, not Cat, not Brunson, which is going to hurt them. 2 out of their 3 players are terrible defenders. But we can't judge New York based on game 1. I also think that you are shortchanging Milwaukee if you think that Miami's better than Milwaukee. They still can't stop Giannis. They can't stop Dame Lillard. Milwaukee could very well be a healthy Milwaukee is probably the 2nd seed. If we're being honest, I just don't think they're going to be healthy. I think they'll be the 4th seed. I think Miami may be in play for the 5th seed, but I don't even really think that's the case. Again, I think they're a 7 or 8 seed if they're lucky.
Well, I think if you start a season and you're saying, I'm going to play my guy only during games where it's not back-to-back, that's probably a bad sign.
Celtics have been doing it with Big Al for 2 years now.
Yeah, Big Al's 75 years old.
You only want him healthy for the playoffs. The biggest thing is if Embiid is healthy for game 1 of the playoffs. It doesn't. The regular season doesn't matter. You want him healthy for game 1.
Walter, I like how you're comparing Embiid to Big Al. Like, I'm sorry, Big Al. Big Al is a big piece of that Boston Celtics roster, but he is not on the same level as Embiid. So
no, but self-preservation and keeping healthy for the playoffs. The reason we won, a big part of the reason we won a championship is because Big Al was healthy throughout the playoffs. If he goes down at the same time Porzingis does, we could very well not not have won the NBA championship. So yeah, I'm going to put him on that level because without him, we don't win a championship. Now he's not on the level. I understand what you're saying. They're not on the same level, but boy, we don't win a championship without Big Al healthy.
Of course not. I agree with you 100%.
Stand a chance without Embiid help.
Well, I would say outsider, we stand a chance without him, but not a good chance.
Not this year. But I don't know if you guys saw this, but today Shams broke that the NBA is looking into an investigation into Philadelphia's use of Embiid, and that they're holding him out to back-to-backs, and they're saying they're holding him out to back-to-backs is against their new rule regarding
star players.
So they started an investigation into the Philadelphia 76ers about Embiid's use, specifically as it relates to back-to-backs. And they're refusing to play him because he's a star player who's healthy, and there's no reason to sit him.
So again, one of the reasons why I'm ranking other teams the way that they are is that the Celtics could go through the season and not be healthy and still potentially like be in the top three.
They're not healthy right now.
And the rest of the teams in the Eastern Conference, they all need to be healthy in order to compete, in order to make the playoffs. So I mean, again, that's another reason I'm basing all of my the thoughts that I'm expressing. Like
any other team, if we lose JB, if we lose Tatum, if we lose Derek White, boy, oh boy, we're gonna be hurt. We have no replacement. And for JB and JT specifically, we don't have there's no backup for them.
No,
nobody's coming in. You know, that's Hayward's not. I mean, I'm not Hayward. The other white guy, Hauser's not coming in. Hauser's not coming to replace those two.
Of course he's not, but that's when it'll be more of a team effort and more team continuity. Like we don't need somebody to replace all of Jaylen Brown's. It'll be 2 or 3, but we'll have a tight enough rotation and enough experience on the roster to neutralize losing that individual as far as points are concerned.
For short term. I mean, if we're talking and extending for months, then it's going to be an issue. But can we all agree that game was a lot of fun to watch? And this season is going to be so much fun to watch.
Oh my God.
Jason Tatum looked so good yesterday. Like his jump shot, I don't know what they did. His jump shot looked so smooth. Like there was something about it, and I'm not an NBA shot doctor, but something changed with his shot where the way he was shooting yesterday, when he did that little step back on the right side for that first 3-pointer of the game, I'm like, oh my God. Like if this is a shot he's hitting this season, the NBA's fucked. He's going to be the best player. He's going to win MVP because he looked so good. And I didn't even feel like they had to go to the hole very much. He and JB didn't go to the hole as much as they typically do because we're getting wide open threes. But boy, oh boy, if he's shooting like that, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and he's going to have a monster year.
Yes, he is. His shot honestly looked. His 3-point shot, his set shot looked a lot like Steph Curry. Like it was like his stroke was
Steph Curry
was his stroke was pure like before he even got off the ground. Like it was almost like his stroke was already done before he got off the ground and elevated. And
just so smooth.
Just floated. Yeah, it looked really good, and the Celtics looked really good, which we're all happy.
The whole team did.
Of course. So
the whole team.
Well, those are.
Can we talk for a second about my Celtics bets and like the dagger, the dagger of us not hitting those bets with like, oh my God.
I saw you said, oh no.
It was at the point in the third quarter where in my head, I'm like, God, we kind of need the Knicks to go on a run here so that our starters can go further into the fourth. But I'm like, I can't root for the Knicks to go for a run and make it a little bit closer. But if I don't, they're not going to play in the fourth quarter. So I'm and then like that last night, were you watching the game live, Nate? Were you guys watching the game live?
Yeah, I was. Yep.
It was a steady tally. I had like literally watching the game in one hand. I had DraftKings up in the other, and I was like doing a refresh like this, watching him. I'm like, he needs a steal here. And so like all our parlays were stacking up, and even into the fourth quarter, like we were on track to turn $15 into $300. Like I'm not like this is not exaggerating. We were on track to do that. All we needed was Jaylen Brown to finish the fourth quarter, score 2 more points, and get 1 more rebound, and we make $200. And then if the Knicks keep their starters in and Brunson gets a couple more assists, we get to that $300, which was not a crazy number. We hit all. We had Portnoy's 6-leg parlay. We hit 5 legs. The only one we didn't was Jaylen Brown was short by 2 points. Oh my god!
Oh my god! I remember your text.
The other parlay was $100, and we lost by 1 fucking rebound. I kept watching him. He kept jumping up and tipping it, and oh my god, it was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, I was there with you. I thought we hit one and didn't hit the other, but
we didn't hit. No, we hit either.
We missed both of them because of dang Jaylen Brown sitting in the fourth.
God damn it!
Oh well, there's plenty more money to lose this season.
So DraftKings has a new. We lost every bet yesterday. God damn, that stinks. They're doing a new special where it's an opt-in. There's $1 million pool every night where you've got to pick a single bet in these players' points, rebounds, or assists. And if the guy you pick has the most points, rebounds, assists combined for that night, you split. Everyone who picked that guy splits a pool of $1 million for a free bet, which could be substantial. So I was looking at it for tomorrow, and I'm like, well, going back and forth. But so all you have to do is so say we want Tatum. We say we think Tatum's going to have the most tomorrow. We bet $5 on Tatum scoring over 25 points, and then if he wins that, and then hits all those is the highest scoring. We get to split a
we saw that. That was pretty funny. We saw that.
Yeah, it was a spider.
We saw that spider. Yeah.
Did you? You caught it on camera?
Yeah.
Wait, a spider?
Yeah, you didn't see
in
it?
the basement. A spider.
Yeah, it was like trickling down. Yeah.
I don't kill spiders.
That's a good bet. We need to
All right. Well, what do you think? I'll send it right now.
Here's the problem with pivoting to NBA is that the NBA plays every night, so it can get expensive pretty quick. And if we're not good at it, and I think we can get good at NBA betting. I just haven't done it in the past, so it's something I have to study and look and watch and pay attention to. I watch the NBA a lot. And
I honestly like Portnoy. Like a lot of his, maybe not the 6 leg, but a lot of his stuff
his 6-leg loss by 2 fucking points.
Yeah, it's not a sure thing, but I like some of them, so that's almost like throw a couple bucks at that, and then I'd also like to throw 5 at whoever pick somebody. You said points, rebounds, and assists. Whoever has the most.
Yeah, I'll send you the. I'll send you guys. You guys both have Twitter accounts, right?
Yep.
I don't.
You need. You can't sit here and lecture us about social media and not have a fucking X account. Jesus Christ!
I don't have an X account.
Well, take care of it. You get yourself an X account. And the good thing about X is that you could be. That troll we've been talking about. Nobody knows you on X. You could start your name as Til'ton the Scales. That can be your name, and everything you can be subtweeting famous people. And on X, I'm telling you, people make a career out of this, and make a lot of money from doing it.
We'll check it out. We'll check
it. I'm sending you a link right now.
All right. It's a good segue. We'll move on to our next topic. We'll talk about
Gerard Bam.
I have a question though. You guys were trolling and bashing this week, so
we were.
Do you think the Patriots should fire Jared Mayo?
Yes.
Okay, then that's all. The only answer that I needed was that. Now, and Wally, you can either, if you disagree, whatever, but you can play along on either side. But right now, I will be Robert Kraft, and Chet will be the GM, Elliot Wolf, and
Okay.
you will convince me the reasons as to why we need to fire Jared Mayo at this time, mid-season,
I like this.
in his first season, and
I
I
like
will, we'll try and go back and forth, but I'll probably give you an answer, and my answer will not be Robert Kraft's answer; it'll be Nathan Logan's answer. But
So the answer is going to be no because you're a Gerard Mayo dick rider. So I mean, we know the outcome already. Like we know how this is going to end.
well, if there's a convincing argument, then I would agree.
Be unbiased. You can't start by saying, "Hey, present an argument to me. You're going to lose, but I want to hear your side anyway."
Okay, how about you just let this thing play out, and then you'll see
All right.
where it's going. Go ahead, Chet.
All right. Fire the man. Look. He found a way to get into like Robert Kraft's good graces. I can't say this shit because
You're talking to Robert Kraft now, so he's in my good graces. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that
I'm in character.
I think
I'm
Gerard
in character,
Mayo was a
Chet.
politician. Gerard Mayo was a politician. He found his way into Robert Kraft's good graces. It's like, oh man, Bill's not doing great. I can relate to these players. I found a way to relate to these players. So when Robert Kraft says like, hey, I made the decision 3 years ago, he kind of is serious about that. Like, hey, this is what we did. I can't stand it. I can't stand it because, like, man, that was not the right call.
All right, so Elliot, tell me who we're going to replace Jared Mayo with. Who are your candidates?
Oh, easy. Josh McDaniels. Let's go. Bring him in.
I thought you were going to say Belichick.
Oh
I so wanted to. But Josh McDaniels. Let's go.
Well, Mr. Elliott, weren't you? Sorry, Mr. Wolf, weren't you the one that hired Jared Mayo? The one that you came to me and told me that? I'm sorry. No, I'm out of character, right? So it was Robert Kraft that actually chose him, and then chose Elliot Wolf. So I don't think that's gonna work. So as Mr. Robert Kraft, I would say we built a really good foundation with our last rookie quarterback.
Yep.
And we continued to build year after year after year, maintaining that foundation, which was the coaching staff. You know, one or two coaches may have moved in and out because they got jobs somewhere else, but we maintained the coaching staff and that infrastructure, and that helped build Tom Brady into one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Yeah. Arguably, that infrastructure is crucial in building something like that again. And that is also why I need to have more information and more reasons and better options to replace Jared Mayo at this point in time, because we're trying to build a foundation. I have trust in this individual to get us to where we're going. And I don't think in the middle of year one, before we've even hit year one, is when we change direction.
Well, so let me step right in here as his assistant GM or his assistant. Here's the problem with that, Mr. Kraft, is that we're not headed in the right direction. And the game calling has been subpar at best. He just threw our entire team under the bus and called them soft on national media. He continues to say the wrong things while continuing to coach the wrong way. We have seen a steady degradation of our strength, which is our defensive team. So do we continue to invest over the course of the next 10 games in the product that we've seen a steady decline for? Like what's the end game here? Like I have no trust that he's put the right things in place. This offensive play calling has been, to say subpar it does not do it justice. It has been atrocious. Our defense has gotten steadily worse. Like at some point, you got to realize, like, wake up and see what's actually happening on this team, and understand that a decision you made 5 years ago about who your next head coach is going to be. And I just sent you both a link that Kraft said that he identified Gerard Mayo as the next head coach 5 years ago. Doesn't necessarily means he deserves to be the head coach currently. He's got to pivot. You've got to recognize when things aren't working. You got to do it a lot quicker than he has been doing the last few years, than you have been doing the last few years, Mr. Kraft. And you got to make a decision that what's best for this team. And I have seen nothing to indicate that our current head coach is what's best for this team.
That's a good link, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's a compelling argument, Mr. Assistant GM. But again, I still think we don't pivot at mid-season.
My mind was made up before we started the fucking debate.
You can't pivot mid-season. Like what was Bill Belichick's record his first year as coach of the New England Patriots?
Okay, you know what? I don't, like, if I'm being honest, I was just playing devil's advocate. I don't think we need to pivot mid-season. I don't think we can pivot in mid-season. We got to play this one out. I agree with you. But Jesus, it's not going to get any better. He's not a good head coach.
No,
what was Bill Belichick's record his first year coaching the New England?
5-11 or 5 and whatever it was, 5 and something.
Was his starting quarterback?
Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Nate, can I ask you a question?
It's a pretty damn good quarterback, isn't it?
I want you to be honest. I want you to give me 100% honest. Do you feel like he's doing a good job as head coach of the New England Patriots right now?
No.
I think.
Question for Nate, and I want a 100% honest, non-trolling answer.
Non-trolling. That I think he can improve. Obviously, the team isn't doing well, and it doesn't seem like their team is responding to coaching. So something's got to change, but I don't think it's firing the head coach. Like we're building something, and it's, we're 7 games into the season. Just because we don't like the product that's been put out on the field doesn't mean that it could look totally different, in week 12, 5 weeks from now.
Jalen Polk is openly saying my coach is an asshole. I'm saying I have the best hands in the fucking league.
Media. He just called his whole team soft.
Yep. And then Jalen Polk is like, I have the best hands in the league. That's like me. That's like me saying I'm going varsity basketball my freshman year.
We didn't.
There's a lot of hubris in that. There's no
on the way to our first first away game.
There is.
By the way, I remember that bus ride. It was Belmont. I remember that bus ride like it was like the first day, like it was yesterday. I remember Reserve laughing. Oh my God, because your father came up for the game.
Oh, I hit 1-3.
I don't remember that, but
on the JV.
I don't think it's time to. I don't think it's time to make a change. I don't think it's time to
make a change either. I just don't have any faith he's going to get any better.
But if he calls out his, I like it.
I want Travis Hunter with the second pick in the NFL draft.
Oh,
crazy.
Good.
Call me crazy.
We play him both ways. Well,
yeah, and you play him both ways.
We'll see when we get there. But again, I don't care that he called this team soft, because again, I sent you guys a link. Bill Belichick he didn't say anything in the media. I get it. He didn't go through the media. This is a different guy, different coach, different style. But players and coaches both need to receive constructive criticism. Like calling someone soft, not calling an individual soft, calling the team soft. There's nothing wrong with that because they're playing terrible. He doesn't need to sit up there and say, we played terrible. I like the fact that he said the defense is soft and he addressed the defense specifically. I don't care if somebody doesn't like that he did that and people on the defense get their feelings hurt. Again, there should be, in meetings, there have been constructive criticism. I know there has. Has he been part of those meetings? No, but I'm sure the defensive coordinator has told people, stop arm tackling, or stop tackling somebody up high with your arms, wrap up, like bring the guy to the ground, and there should be pursuit from everybody on the defense. Not one person making a solo tackle when the ball's 10 yards down the field. There should be gang tackling. There should be pursuit on the ball. Like, I know that he's saying those. I know that the coaches are saying those things. The players, if they're not responding, then yeah, something needs to change. But I don't think at this point it's the head coach. Because again, who hired the offensive coordinator?
Head coach.
Yeah. So, and we need to continue that foundation for Drake May specifically, and all the offensive players that are there. That needs to continue. There's no, like, we've seen it. We've seen it many times where, a new quarterback, young quarterback comes in, is successful, and the next year it's an entirely different staff that's coaching him. And like, I would argue that could do two different things to different people, right? Like having a different coaching style and mentality, and a coach using different words to help you, progress in your career could be beneficial. But I would also argue that it might stagnate you and keep you in one spot, because I'm back to square one and not building off of what was previously built. And I think that was one of the huge things that we had with the foundation of Tom Brady and the way he went through.
That's reasonable. That's a reasonable argument.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you know who had a similar philosophy? The band leader on the deck of the Titanic. Just keep playing, boys. Just keep fucking playing. Doesn't matter which direction the boat's heading, but if you just keep playing, we're all going to be okay. Just look around and look at the dumpster fire that's happening. Like at some point, you got to recognize that they have exceeded every expectation of how bad they are. Like they're worse. We've played bad teams. We played significantly worse than them. So I understand what you're saying, Nate, and I don't necessarily disagree. But I guess my question would be, what would you have to see this year? What would you need to see this year for you to question whether or not they're going the right direction? Like if they lose out, if they don't win another game this year, are you still rolling with the same coaching staff next year? Because there's a real chance we lose it.
DeMarcus Covington, by the way.
I would argue that it's more probable than not that we lose every game.
I would argue that management, not the coaching staff, management made a decision to not spend. I am getting to it. Management made a decision to put something on the field that they believed was not competitive to begin with, by not spending $40 million and by trading our best defensive player and our best defensive asset. Like they made a decision before the season even started to a non-compete agreement, right? Like they want to be drafting higher in the draft next year, and this season is what it is. Like, without saying it, of course they can't say it. They're not tanking, but they are. Like, I think that management did that, because I wouldn't fire the coach if I didn't intentionally give him all the access to all the assets that we have as an organization. Like, I can't fire him, because that should be the coach's retort. Like when he's in front of the guy and saying, why aren't we this good? Well, we could have used that $40 million that you saved in your pocket, right? Like, and again, that $40 million was there way before anything else, as far as the training camp and everything else started. Like that 40 million was there at the beginning of free agency. It's not
So-
like they
so
restructured
again,
contracts and
Just to be clear, there is nothing that could happen this year for you to change direction. We can lose every game for the rest of the year, and we're going into next season with the exact same staff as right now, is what you're saying.
no, no, I don't agree with that. I think
Okay.
for sure there's,
Okay.
but I think the head coach is going to stay. I think it's let's get a more experienced D coordinator in here.
Offense,
Let's get another offensive guru in here, not necessarily coordinator. I don't know what that looks like, but again, our offense is improving the most now that we've got Drake May. Week to week, from Drake May's first start to the second start, the offense has improved. The defense has gone downhill. So again, what do? Do we bring in an experienced defensive coordinator? And
Steve
again,
Belichick. Let's bring Steve Belichick.
this is one of those. This is one again. I look back when you hired Jared Mayo. Like, why did we as in Robert Kraft say, oh yeah, let's hire a bunch of rookie offensive coordinators and assistants? Like, why wouldn't you be like, no, let's go out and get the most experienced offensive guy, the most experienced defensive guy? Does that cost you money? Absolutely. But why as a head coach would you not want that? Like, is it just because you wanted to put people in those positions that you knew that you could manage and you're friends with, or how? I don't know how that works, but like, I don't like what's going on, but I don't think it's the head coach that's going to go. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't make any sense. Again, it doesn't make any sense. Like, based off of the fact that they haven't used all of the assets and everything that they have in order to put something on the field that is what everyone in the organization would agree with, a competitive team.
Yeah.
So this is where you and I come to an impasse, because I believe if we go 1-17, that there's no chance they bring back any member of this football team coaching staff. I think they're all gone. I think if our defense continues to erode the way it has, there's no chance they bring back. I agree. They probably keep. I don't think they fire a first-year head coach. It looks worse for Kraft to fire a first-year head coach mid-season than it does for anybody. Like, that's not a bad look for Mayo. That's a bad look for Kraft.
Yeah.
So I think for that reason alone, he doesn't pull the trigger. But boy, oh boy, if they continue the trajectory that they currently are on, like, I don't know, man. I don't think they're coming back.
Well, I mean, again, Robert Kraft needs to have a conversation with Elliott Wolf about what his expectations are for the team to change and progression moving forward. And then Elliott Wolf has to have that conversation with the head coach. And, and it's not a conversation. It's, hey, tell me, show me what you're going to do to improve this. Do we need to bring in a new defensive coordinator? Or do we need you as the head coach to call the defensive plays? Like, what?
He never called plays his whole life. Why would he start now?
Well, neither has his current defensive coordinator.
Nor has his current offensive coordinator. No, maybe we hit the issue here on the head.
Yeah, maybe that's the motherfucking problem.
I mean, all I have to say is if they decide to clean the slate as far as the coaches, then there's got to be a candidate out there that is just like it makes the decision easier to swallow and handle. You know what I mean? But again, look at them. If we were to fire him, what is a potential market for head coaches next year? Like, who's out there that we would want to have as our head coach?
Josh.
No,
Josh, no, I don't
I want Josh.
McDaniels.
I want Josh.
No, thank you.
I don't want Josh.
I'm not even considering anybody in the Belichick tree, because there was no head coach.
I wholeheartedly agree with that, with one exception. You know who I would consider?
Brian Flores.
I would consider Vrabel. And I don't consider necessarily Vrabel in the Belichick tree necessarily. I think some people might.
He didn't coach under him.
But he played under him.
Yeah,
played
but he
under him.
didn't coach under him. He's not in the tree.
I would consider Vrabel, and I consider Vrabel in the Belichick tree. Flores, I don't hate that idea. If I'm being honest with you, I think Flores could be is a very good NFL coach, but I kind of want Vrabel.
I mean, he's out there. He's probably out there as one of the top candidates. That's why I throw his name out there. And he is part of the Belichick tree.
Mayo,
He is
right now.
Yeah, he is part of the Belichick tree, but I don't want a per se anyone under the Belichick tree that was previously a head coach and failed. And Brian Flores is in that category, but he's redeemed himself, I think, in a lot of things that he's done since being fired from the Miami and dealing with the Tua situation and all that. So
I don't think he doesn't necessarily needs. I like Flores, but right now, at this moment, you're diverting from my last question. Would you rather have our current head coach or Mike Vrabel? Right now, would you personally?
Vrabel, all day.
I mean, if our head coach is fired, then yeah, he's a candidate. Right now, I don't live in that world. I'm not living in that world. I'm a fan and I support the players on the field and the coach that's coaching the team. Like,
get out of here.
I'm sorry. I'm loyal to those that serve with us. You know, I'm not asking for him to be fired. Like I'm
asking you personally who you'd rather have as our head coach right now, currently this minute. Mike Vrabel or Gerard Mayo?
Oh, I can't say that Mike Vrabel would be doing a better job record-wise.
I can. He would.
I'm fine with our coach right now because we started the season with him. I'm a ride or die. Like, you know.
I don't see anything that's happened. If I'm being honest, there's nothing that I've seen. If we're thinking analytically here, that would lead me to that conclusion. There's nothing he's done that would suggest that he's a good head coach. I've seen no piece of evidence that would suggest he's doing a good job. I'm really trying. I want data here. Explain that to me.
How was this year's draft class?
What has he done?
How was this year's draft class?
This year's draft class. All right, so we're talking about Drake May, and we're talking about two wide receivers, who one of them we haven't seen. The
Jalen Pope, Javon Baker,
an offensive line who continues to shit. So we have a quarterback who seems to be doing well. The third pick in the draft, and better do well. And what have the rest of them done?
I mean, they're still young, right? And we didn't draft
currently.
Right, but we weren't expecting those offensive linemen to start.
Who was our second round pick?
Was it Jalen?
Jalen Pope.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Pope. I'm glad you brought him up, Nate, because that fucking guy stinks. He's a terrible second round pick. He shouldn't be in the NFL right now. What do we like? This is your argument? Look at this year's draft class. They stink. You know who's actually I prefer to look at is last year's draft class. They're doing all right. Who drafted them?
I don't know. Who did draft them?
Bill motherfucking coach.
Who did draft them? Caden Wallace was the offensive tackle in the third. Layden Robinson was the offensive guard in the fourth. And then another receiver, a cornerback, Joe Milton, and Jaheim Bell, the tight end, to finish it off.
Shit. It's all shit.
It's all shit.
So far, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they all turn out to be great players. They haven't done anything yet this year that would suggest.
Drake May's all right.
They haven't. What free agents has he signed? None, because he fucking was told he can't spend the $40 million that we have.
That's not what I heard. I heard that nobody wanted to come.
That might be it too, and that's okay. But I don't think we were given the green light to use any of that. honestly, or a substantial amount. So, I mean, but yeah, I'm a ride or die. Let's let him live out the season. I don't
All
know.
right.
I'd imagine.
In interest of full disclosure, I should give the 2023 draft because I claim they were much better than this year's draft, and I'm not sure they are, but I think they still are. I'm going to list them off, and I want you, Chet, I want you to be objective here. Which draft is better, 2023 or 2024? Nate just listed off 2024. 2023 first round, Christian Gonzalez. Second round, Keon White. Third round, linebacker Marte Mapu. Center Jake Andrews in the fourth round. Chad Ryland in the fourth round. Sidney Sow in the fourth round. Fifth round,
Yep.
Maffey. Keyshawn Boutte in the sixth round. Behringer, the punter, who's probably our MVP. Demario Douglas in the sixth round. sad saying, but it's not. I don't think I'm far off. Demario Douglas in the sixth round. Amir Speed in the cornerback. Isaiah Bolden in the seventh round. So, Chet, tell me objectively which draft was better.
I don't know. I'd say this year. That
Oh,
would be mine.
probably this year, but God damn it.
Who has been better? Just because of the quarterback, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think Keon White's been decent.
Yeah, Keon White has been.
I think our punter's been decent. I think
Mapua-
Demario Douglas has been decent.
Mapua.
Oh, no, Douglas.
is
Hold on.
starting.
I would stand by
They are,
Douglas.
but they're all also a year older. So they weren't that good. They weren't that good their first year.
I disagree. I think I think they outperformed this current crop of rookies through this point in their career.
Of course,
Yeah,
objectively, of course.
The problem is Douglas from the year before.
No, analytically,
He's done well.
Statistically, I bet you statistically they have as well.
Of course.
Of course. Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
I do like Douglas from that year. This year, Jalen Polk, I said already, cut that guy.
Cut him. You did.
Our second round pick. Your second round
Not
pick.
cutting him.
Yep.
And you still think this year's been better?
No. That's my point. No.
You just told me they were. Didn't you just say they were?
I said they were.
Nate said they were.
They are.
They're not.
They will be. They might not be right now.
I hope.
And they might not be for you fair weather fans.
Oh!
But hey, let's transition to the Patriots and Jets game. Let's break that down. It is it at home or is it? Oh no, yes, it's at home. Are you going, Chet? No.
Nope. I'm going to the Rams.
Fair weather fan. See.
Jeez, motherfucker.
All right. So, if I were to pick the game, the Jets are favored by 7. So we're 7-point dogs.
Yep.
I don't know. I think we're competitive. The Jets continue to be Jets. You know, I think Devontae Adams gives them an added advantage in the red zone, which probably
You're gonna whoop our ass.
I mean, Gonzalez is gonna lock up Devontae Adams. I guarantee you that.
All your thoughts?
I've seen nothing to suggest that to be the case. I think they're probably going to beat us by 20.
I'll bet on that. You want to bet on that?
I feel like a broken record when I say this, but
you want to bet on that by 20?
I think the Jets are going to continue to get better every week. I think that They're going to start clicking offensively. Brees Hall has been not great this year. I think he's going to continue to get better. Devontae and Aaron Rodgers are going to continue to get better.
Hold on, Wally. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be close.
Is this thing on? I'm not sure if this thing's on. Can you hear me?
So here's what I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet the money you owe me already from our last bet that I beat you.
Yeah.
Double or nothing. If this is what you want to do, I'm willing to bet. What do you want to bet?
20 points. You give me 20 points?
Again, I'm going to ask for odds.
That's not what you said. You just said they'll lose. You are very confident and said it again that they will lose by 20. But you're not confident enough to bet on that.
I am confident. I'm confident enough to put money on it. But you need to pay odds because statistically speaking, analytically speaking, it's more likely they don't lose by 20.
Okay, thank you.
My argument stayed consistent. I'm willing to put money on the Patriots losing by 20, but you better give me odds.
But you would have won that bet last time, though, right? If you had bet on what you said.
And I'll win this bet, too.
Yeah. No, they're not going to lose by 20. They're not. They're not.
All right. So put your money where your mouth is.
You won't give me that bet.
I will give you that bet.
Okay, double or nothing.
He's going to give me odds.
No, that's no. The Patriots will not lose by 20. That is my bet. Double or nothing.
Are you able to, and I don't know how this works, but you're a YouTube master. Can you put a poll up? I'm interested if people watch this clip and put a poll up, like on what we're arguing here. I want to know what the people think.
Oh, I do.
I can do that. I'll have that up tomorrow.
I'm very curious because I feel like, I don't know.
You feel like what?
Let there be no confusion. I don't want this to happen. Like I want them to win. I will be actively rooting for them to win.
The poll would be: should Wally bet that the Patriots will lose by 20? Yes or no? Is that what you want the poll to be?
No. It's got to be something that's neutrally worded. Because I think you have like a sympathy.
So then the question would be: will the Patriots lose by 20?
If the bet is me versus you, people are going to vote for you out of sympathy, and I don't want that.
This is true. Yeah, this is true. So then, will the Patriots lose by 20, or how many points will the Patriots lose by? 20 or 7?
Oh no. Here's the argument. What's the more likely scenario? Do the Patriots win? Do the Patriots lose by 0 to 20? Do the Patriots lose by 20 or more? 0 to 19, 20 or more.
Okay, what's more likely? Pats win or lose by 0 to 20?
Or 20 or more. What's the more likely scenario? That's neutrally worded. I'm curious. Like that is such a huge discrepancy too. I think the vast majority of people are going to say they're going to lose by 0 to 20.
I think so too.
And I think they're going to lose by 20 or more. 0 to 19. Sorry, 0 to 19.
God damn it. I'm still a purist. I just want them to win. All I want is the Patriots to win.
But here's the problem: is I don't even really want to put that up because I want them to win too, and I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. I just don't want to be right. I want them to continue to progress offensively, and I think like this is as likely scenario that they continue to progress offensively, that we're willing to move away from trying to force the run and open up the throws, go 5 wide. Quick outs, like let's open up this offense and see what this kid can do, because what we're currently doing isn't working. Like if we make a pivot and go that direction, boy, I think we can keep up with people offensively. I think if we include Hunter Henry more and we continue to do these short passes with these occasional 20 to 30 yard bombs, like golly, like that's the team I want to watch. And if that team comes out like, boy, oh boy, I'm going to enjoy watching this game. Even if we lose,
Great, I agree.
I'm going to enjoy watching that. And that's what I'm hoping for. So let there be no mistake. This is what I'm hoping for. I just don't have any faith that that our offensive coaching staff should call that play.
This is why they play the game. I hope that they can be competitive on the field. The game starts 0-0, so
it does.
We were up 10 on the last team in the first quarter.
And then,
crying out loud.
Then what happened?
What happened after that? Yeah.
Question. We had, I don't know. I saw an offensive lineman go down, and it seemed to change the tempo of the offense for some reason.
I saw defense get fucking
and our defense
by the offense.
Yep. So I hope so. I mean, I'm not a fair weather fan like y'all.
Get out of town. You're the biggest fair weather fan I have. You were rooting against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that was happening.
You will not find anything.
I think I saw you with a different jersey on. I'm not sure though.
I like to think that my criticism of a highly talented team helped push them over the edge of mediocrity and into greatness.
They were never mediocre.
They were playing like it.
By what measure? We're talking about historically winning season.
I was not criticizing them once they hit the playoffs. I was criticizing them prior to and wanting them to build to greatness before they got into the playoffs.
This podcast needs a revolution. Me and the Celtics go one way, you and the Patriots go the other. And we'll just check in every couple of years and see who does better. Because I'm pretty confident that me and my coach and me and my team are going to be far exceeding the outcomes of your team.
I would agree. Again, what our roster day one was bottom 3 in the league.
Now it's bottom 1.
Probably so, because of injuries for sure. And because we traded one of our better players on defense before the season started.
Who didn't want to play for us.
That's true, yeah. I mean, money talks, though. Give the guy his money and he'll pay. He'll play. Right. He'll sing and dance. He'll sing and dance if you ask him.
And then our best defensive player has blood clots right now, right?
Is that wise?
That's true.
Who is it?
Barmore?
Barmore.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. I know all of it. Barmore, luck left.
All right, so we'll pivot to some of the trades that have been going on. The last podcast, you guys were both not on at this time when I went over the Amari Cooper trade.
Man, good one.
I think this trade will be at the end of the year the most valuable trade that was made for a couple reasons. So if you guys didn't follow it, obviously Amari Cooper went to the Bills. The Bills sent a 6th round draft pick and a 3rd round, or I'm sorry, it was they received Amari Cooper and a 6th round draft pick for a 3rd round pick next year and a 7th round pick in 2026. Now the key to this scenario is the Cleveland Browns at the beginning of the year paid like 98% of his salary in a signing bonus. So essentially paid all of his salary at the beginning of the year. He was on hook this year for $1.2 million. And so that's essentially what the Bills inherit from his salary for the rest of the year. And of course, his contract's up at the end of the year, so it might be a short-term lease. But for you to get Amari Cooper at that price for the draft picks and that dollar amount, essentially that was the only wide receiver that the Bills could afford. So it was like a perfect scenario for them. And I'm not really sure. Maybe Amari Cooper
had such a glaring need too, right? Like, I mean, their wide receiver core was depleted at best. I mean, who's their best wide receiver? Shakur?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
It was a
right. I mean,
Khalil
and
Shakir,
then
yeah.
everyone's like, "Who?" Exactly right. We got a premier quarterback. You've got
Matt
one of the best
Collins.
quarterbacks in the NFL, top 3 quarterback. You've got to get him people to throw to. So yeah, trade for Amari Cooper, and then God damn it, sign one of the premier wide receivers next year. You've got a Cadillac in the garage. This is like Bella. This is like Brady in the mid 2000s like get him the wide receivers to play the game. You got a quarterback's career is only so long. If I'm Buffalo, stock up, like let this guy eat, lean into him, like deplete the defense if you need to, like get, you know what I mean, and lean into this offense and set records and give him everything he needs. Like this is crazy talk to me.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have anything on that trade, Chet?
Well, it makes sense. Sign the guy, but I think it was a response to what Kansas City did.
Well, Kansas City traded for D Hop today.
Yep. So
So-
I think it was a
Well, yeah,
response.
but that was well after. So they did that.
Oh, my bad.
Buffalo did.
Amari Cooper was before that, but ironically, the
Yeah,
Devontae Adams, the Devontae Adams trade and the Amari Cooper trade, both of those teams are trying to. They're not looking at winning the division. They're like, what do we need to do to beat Kansas City? Like
Yeah.
both of those trades were made because of that, and like
Yeah.
And ironically, both of those teams played each other on Monday Night Football, and then literally 2 days later, they're both making a trade for a wide receiver.
Yeah. D Hop's not good anymore, right? Like I just don't know. Like I don't see like we're not talking about Devontae Adams here. Devontae Adams, I feel, can still be an elite receiver in the NFL. Do you really feel like Hopkins can do that, Nate? I just don't see it anymore.
I mean, I think he's got at least a couple years in him, but I mean,
Solid or elite?
for-
Like Devontae Adams can be elite. I don't think Hopkins can be elite anymore.
I think Hopkins, if he has Patrick Mahomes thrown to him, like, come on,
Fair.
that
Yeah.
definitely elevates him. That definitely elevates him, and he
Yeah.
doesn't. Hopefully he's durable enough at this point where he'll be able to last the rest of the season and into
Yeah.
the playoffs, right? But I think Patrick Mahomes, he probably doesn't have elite speed, but somebody's going to be dumb enough to leave him in single man coverage with nothing over the top, and he can stride it out, man. Like, and he'll lay out for catches too. That's what I like about D-Hop. Like, I think he'll relish this opportunity and probably elevate his game just a little bit because of the guy that's throwing to him, man. And
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to argue that. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. He has done it for a long time with people of lesser quality, so you're not wrong.
yeah, I think this will hopefully elevate him to a different level. Just meaning mentality, and maybe he becomes more of a team player. If he hasn't, not that he hasn't been in the past, but I mean, he is a wide receiver. He likes to be vocal about, getting catches, getting targets, and maybe again to have Patrick Mahomes to go from Mason Rudolph to Patrick Mahomes in 1 week, like it's a significant increase. So he should be happy with the targets that he gets, and those balls should be catchable, not like, hopefully somewhere just outside of his catch radius or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think they'll be all right. I don't know if this, like, I think it helps them, but I don't think this is like, it's not a jaw dropping, move. It's great, but I thought if you look at who else is out there, who another person's name that's out there is Cooper Kupp. Like, I felt like he's young enough. He's not necessarily cheap, but he's not one of the higher priced receivers right now. Like, if he's available, I thought that the Kansas City, that would be perfect for the Kansas City Chiefs as far as longevity. Give him a couple years in that system as well, and that's just another weapon that Andy Reid can exploit, like just like he does with guys off the street, for crying out loud. Seems like, you know, he's like, oh, you want to run a play, Patrick? What do you want to run? Oh, I call this one just get open. Like, oh, great. Let's go. I trust you. Like, I mean, that's awesome that they can do that. But I did think that getting somebody that wasn't as long in the tooth, somebody that was younger, somebody that had more longevity kind of made more sense. Like an Amari Cooper, like I still think he's got like 2 or 3 years. He's got to be signed, but yeah. But I guess that was the only one that they could get. Excuse me. So, yeah. You're coughing too, Chet?
Yep, I am. Sorry.
Bitches.
Is there do you think Cooper Cup's going to be moved at all, Wally?
Boy, yes, I think he will. I mean, I also think because they got Nakua coming back shortly too, and I get what you can from him. I would not be shocked if he's moved in the very near future. I'm hoping he plays tomorrow. I've got him in 2 different fantasy leagues, and so neither league's performing up to its. We should also backtrack at some point. Here's a little timeout to talk about our weekly betting league that I'm just absolutely lapping the 2 of you in. And we should also talk about our fantasy league, which I'm also just absolutely lapping the 2 of you in. But I digress. Let's circle back to the Cooper Cup argument. Cooper Cup, I feel like he's going to come back and have a monster game this week. I think they're going to go heavy volume to him. This is also projection because I need him to do this for both of my leagues. But I feel like he's going to come back with heavy targeting. And it may, unfortunately, I do think he gets traded. I think if that, I was kind of surprised that Kansas City didn't go after a guy like Cooper Cup because I think Cooper Cup on that offense could be like whew, elite. But who knows? Like, what team do you think, Chet, would trade for a guy like Cooper Cup right now after all the already wide receiver moves that have occurred?
Maybe LA Rams. Maybe they should bring him back to their team and say, "Let's not trade this motherfucker." Stupid.
You think he's staying where he is?
I think he's stupid. Why would you do that?
You got Nakua coming back next week or the week after. They just activated him off the IR. Well, they opened his window to practice, his 21-day window.
Otherwise,
I mean, they're not making the play. I mean, what's their record, Dave? Can you look that up real quick? What's their record right now?
I will tell you, they're 2-4.
like 2-4.
2-4. And
Yeah,
they play
2
the
and 4.
Vikings.
So,
I mean, playoffs are still, I guess, an option, right? I mean, they could win out.
No.
Or do you trade away and start stockpiling draft picks for next year? That's the question, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, Cooper Cup makes sense to trade him because Puka's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah.
Cooper, you paid, but he's actually affordable because now wide receivers he's making like 20-something million a year, and most top tier wide receivers, which he is, but because he signed his contract earlier, he's making less. So
do you think Buffalo would trade for another wide receiver? Would Buffalo trade for another guy? Like what other team do you think of right now that would trade for him? I'm struggling to come up. Maybe a team like Houston. Steelers.
So Buffalo has Cooper, right? That makes sense. The Steelers looking for something. That makes sense.
For Cooper, yeah. I mean, also the 49ers need somebody too. Debo was sick, but Ayuk's out, right?
Yeah.
They probably can't afford Cooper, but I mean, if we're looking at this realistically, it's probably like somebody like the Lions.
You're never going to get Cooper Cup.
The Lions, the Steelers, why not?
They're jacked. So you got to find a team that wants someone.
How about a
Well,
team
Right.
like
his salary
Tampa
can
Bay.
be handled.
Tampa Bay just lost 2 wide receivers.
That's true.
Chris Godwin's done for the year.
That's true.
They were looking like they had a legitimate shot.
Yeah, they're 4-3 right now.
I think Mike
Yeah.
Evans is only out for a game or two, but I think we'll see.
Yeah, Chris Godwin was leading the NFL
Hey,
in
I
receptions
know.
and yards. So, that makes sense for Cooper. I just don't know if Tampa Bay's willing to give up. It'd be smart for them to, honestly. But
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, that's a good landing spot. I think the Steelers. I like I think the Steelers and the Buccaneers are probably really good landing spots for him. But honestly, I don't know what the market is because I'm not aware of like everyone else's salary cap.
Nor am I. Why do you say we make Chet the salary cap expert?
Oh, great. That sounds great.
Whenever
That's
any
good.
NFL salary cap questions come up,
Ah,
we can ask Chet intricate questions like, how does this work? Or if we can broaden it to be the NBA and the NFL salary cap, so we can ask questions like, hey, Chet, talk to me about the second apron in the NBA salary cap and its implications for the Celtics, salary long term. And if you could answer that in intricate, in-depth answers, I feel like it would be a real addition to our podcast.
Somebody else might be the Commanders.
Boy, I don't know. You think? You think they're going to go for it this year?
For Cooper Cup, I mean they should get a top tier number one. Well, they already know Jaden Daniels is the real deal, so
Yeah.
they shouldn't wait to get that. I mean, and again, Cooper Cup when he's healthy, he's a top tier for sure. Like
Sure,
there's no
absolutely.
doubt about it. Like why would if he's available, why wouldn't they go out and get him? Because again, they have the rookie contract for the quarterback. Think if you could name somebody on their roster who's the highest paid on their roster, like who would that be? I can't name. I think maybe Terry McLaurin, but honestly, let me look at their salary, their roster, because their roster shows salaries. Oh, it's not showing salaries.
While you're doing that, I went to dinner tonight with the family. It took us almost 2 hours before we got our food, before we sat down to when we received our entrees. It was one of the most disappointing experiences in my life, and my kids were absolutely maniacs come the time we got our food. Just absolute animals. They were so hungry and angry and mad. Like I had all I could do to keep them from like burning the house down. It was awful, an awful experience, and it's one of my favorite restaurants too, which makes it so much more disappointing. But I will give them credit; I'll give my wife credit for this too because she complained loudly, and they took off our both her and my entree and didn't charge us for either.
Damn.
So I mean, I think it's a trade off. That's almost $50.
That's nice.
Sometimes it makes listen. I love my wife to death. That's a situation where, boy, hats off. I was very happy with that. I was very happy with that.
I like that. You take the lead. Sometimes they take the lead, and
That's who's nice about it. I brought it up. We were both nice about it. But if we're waiting an hour and a half, 2 hours for entrees, like what are we doing? Like it's falling apart. Like I watched people around us getting entrees that came in after us. Like that shouldn't happen.
I get that.
All right, so I was right. Terry McLaurin makes $24 million.
He's the highest paid player on that team.
Yeah, Jerron Payne. I think he plays defense. He's the next with 21, and the next one under that is 9, and then 6, and that's it.
Okay. All right.
So
I always think of Terry McLaurin as one of those like just steady. I mean, I guess he's had shit quarterbacks, but I don't think of him as a superstar. I just think of him as like steady, consistent.
Never. Yeah, I can say he's steady, but never a superstar.
Yes, they have 24 million in cap space. Look at the Patriots.
Don't do that. That's terrible.
You don't want me to?
Well,
You want to?
I thought I'm thinking I will offer them my services as a quarterback if they want.
Who are we talking?
Patriots.
Well,
I'm thinking
it's a very generous offer, especially given your age. In like, listen, let there be no mistake. The first time you get hit would be the last time because they would absolutely crush you. But that aside, I just don't know whose spot you would take.
I agree.
Which one do you think? Are you thinking to overtake Joe Milton? I mean, he's built like a Greek god. Like, he's 22.
Okay. Should I jump in?
I did have a question while I'm looking this stuff up. Last week, what's his name? Mike Tomlin made the decision to start Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. Do you guys think that was the right call? At the time, was it the right call?
Yes.
It was. Do you know who supported do you know who supported Mike Tomlin in that decision?
Who did?
I'm asking, do you know?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields supported him?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, he kind of did, but
actually, you supported him. But who else?
Nobody. None of the coaches agreed with him, and they all were vocal about it.
I understand that because let's be honest about Russell Wilson's performance over the last couple of years. It hasn't been good. He has not looked like he's looked like a far below average. And Justin Fields has played pretty well. What are they, 4-2?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, so like he's played above average. He's played well. If I'm being honest, I think he deserved to hold on to the job. Having said that, I just picked up Russell Wilson and started in one of my leagues because I think he's gonna be good. I think he's gonna be really good. And I may be wrong. I think that Russell Wilson, if he plays like he did last week and he plays like he did in Seattle for a decade, he could be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. We've seen it. We saw it consistently, and I think we can see it again. And if he plays like he did last week, he will be a top quarterback in the NFL. And it's a team that might make the playoffs. So I hope he does well, frankly.
I agree.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if he'll do well. I feel like that was the right decision to make because it would be easier. It would be easier to go back to Justin Fields after Russell Wilson fails, but I think Justin Fields. I think he's probably he probably hit his peak performance, right? Like I don't know how much how much better he's gonna play. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
And they weren't putting Russell Wilson in to play better than him. They were putting Russell Wilson in almost as you're healthy. We were going to start you at the beginning of the year. Justin Fields was the backup. The backup started, and now that you're healthy, let's insert you as the starting quarterback and go back to QB1, QB2. And then that way it's easier. If Russell Wilson didn't perform well, which he didn't in the first quarter, he was terrible. But I felt like it would be easier to go back to Justin Fields because at some point, if Russell Wilson's healthy and he's not playing, then he's gonna be vocal about wanting out or wanting to play, one of the two things, and then it's like you still don't know what you got, so there really still isn't any value in trading Russell Wilson to anybody because everyone still thinks he's terrible because you haven't played him. So this could benefit the Steelers, but I just thought it was funny. Like no one in the building supported that decision. I mean, of course, Justin Fields did. He was vocal about it, but which is the way to go about it as a professional. But I mean, none of the coaches wanted Mike Tomlin to make the decision to do that, and he was vocal about, I was the only one that wanted to do this. I made the decision myself, and that's why I get well compensated after it
And
worked
that's
out.
why he's
He
the
did
most
pretty well.
tenured coach in the NFL, right? He's been there the longest, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. He
Yep.
made the right call. That was crazy, though. I don't think nobody would have made that call. There isn't anybody. You're 4-2, man. Why are you gonna change things up?
Bill Belichick would,
It
because
worked
he's
well.
been the ball top. He would have
I
done it.
thought it was funny that Belichick was commenting on salaries on the Peyton cast. Commenting on salaries like, yeah, the Eagles should have signed, or the Giants should have signed Saquon Barkley. It only cost him a couple more million. Like, man, you were the cheapest dude. Like, and his comment specifically was, what they get, an extra offensive lineman instead? Like, that's exactly Bill Parcells' forte. Get rid of the best player that you have because they want more money, and you draft an offensive lineman. I thought that was funny. And Bill Belichick still ain't shit, Paul.
What?
I kind of like him with the media stuff, don't you?
I like him too. Yeah, I love him. I love him with Peyton.
You guys listen to his
and the
podcast
Manning
with?
cast.
Do you listen to his podcast with Patricia? And
No. Matt Patricia.
yeah, it's worth a listen if you like the technical
So
intricacies
good. It's so good.
of football. Like they get into the details and they get into the thing. It's really like a very football esoteric, like very specific, high level football stuff. But it's fun. It's fun, and it's really like intelligent. Patricia's a really smart guy.
Oh,
yeah.
With respect, what's esoteric mean?
Football centric, like very. Now
don't
you
you
got
just
me
say
second.
that?
Now you got me very questioning it. I feel like
Me too. I'm sorry. That's a great word. I'm just trying to figure it out.
You're good. Well, I understood it. I understood the
yeah,
context.
yeah. I think I used it.
appreciate it.
Let me read the definition. Intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with a specialized knowledge or interest. That is so contextually correct when I'm talking about a high level football show that like I just want to say like I nailed it. I fucking nailed it. Esoteric was contextually used correctly. I was called on it. And I nailed it.
I love the context. I love the passion. Let's move that passion into the next episode of Starting Five.
Let's go.
I don't get an apology for just being called out.
Oh, sorry.
On national
Wally,
media.
I'm sorry. Wally, I'm sorry.
I accept.
My fault.
All right, so episode 2 of Starting Five. I'm looking for my notes on it.
So let me jump in then. I think it came out exactly like I intended it. I felt like it's really building up Ant. And like he is such a polarizing figure. Like there was so many scenes where I really loved him. I loved his relationship with his family. I loved the dynamics. I loved the way they talked to each other. I liked his character development. But I just hate, like, again, in my Celtics fever, like anything that's anti-Tatum or anti-Celtics, I hate. And he's being built up to be the anti-Tatum. So I like, for me, he's the bad guy. I'm bored with Sabonis. I don't like that storyline. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't move the needle. Like I don't care. I love the Ant stuff. I want more Tatum. I liked it.
Like to. And Belichick is the one reason that we have a dynasty. Swear to God.
I feel like you're blind.
And Brady together.
Did you watch? What's your take on Starting Five, Chet?
Oh, I love. Make sure I say it right. Anthony
Yeah, Anthony Edwards. You love him?
Yeah, you can call him Ant. Everyone calls him Ant.
Yeah, everyone calls him Ant.
Ant
I
Man.
love that dude. He doesn't give a fuck about what came before him. Like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
I
think
love
his-
that guy.
I definitely think his story and his background is interesting. But I thought it was funny in that episode. He actually says that he wants the Jordan comparisons to stop. Like he doesn't appreciate them.
Yep.
And he wants them to stop. But
He's right.
and also his reasoning was that he's done so little and MJ's done so much for the game. But just last week, the guy opens up his mouth and says, I'm the guy that would want to be guarding Jordan, and I think we would be going back and forth, bucket for bucket, whatever it was, on the offensive side and the defensive side.
Yeah. What's he got to say? He's got to say that. You got to say that. He's the guy, right? Like he's the guy in Minnesota. They traded away Cat, so he's the man. That's his team.
But why is it? But
no
he's
question
the one
he's
making the. He's the one making that comparison, and he's already said he
But that's
said he
part of
wants
the
to stop those comparisons.
That's I agree, but that's part of his allure. This is how he's got there. He's run his mouth. He's talked a big game every step of the way. It's just what he does.
Yeah, you're right. He has.
Why change now?
I just don't get it. Well, again, I haven't seen all of the episodes, right? So maybe he changes his tone.
Does he back it up?
But
Again,
again,
back it up. Does he back it up?
I mean,
Yeah, he's good. He's very good. He's very
yes,
good.
he's good now, but he should not. He should not be comparing himself to Michael Jordan. Like, I'd rather. Again, most of the players now are like, no, hey, well, Tatum's one of them. I'm not Michael Jordan. I don't want to be the next Michael Jordan. I want to be the next Jason Tatum. And I want to be as good, if not better, statistically. But, you know, he's been on record as saying that.
Yeah,
am I right, Wally?
What's that?
I was saying, am I right?
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. But again, we live in a weird time where like if my star player in my team says that I think I'm the best player in the world, like I kind of want that bravado. I don't hate somebody saying that, like, fuck you, I'm the best. If he's on my team, like I agree with you, like from the outside looking in, he's not a Celtic. I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy, he's no Jordan. But I like that people stepping up to say he is. I have no problem with that. As a fan, I want that. I want a guy that wants to fucking take it, grab it by the balls, and own it. Like that's as a homer. But at the same time, like I love a guy like Jason Tatum who just kind of lets his actions speak. He doesn't come out and with all that bravado. He just comes out and kind of like performs at a high level. And doesn't talk that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's hard.
I know what you mean.
I like
I know what you mean.
What makes a compelling league is the differences in styles, the differences in approaches, the differences in how they present themselves. Like that's what makes a compelling storyline.
I agree.
It does. I just, again, part of the storyline that I don't like is that it's his words saying that he wants the comparisons to stop. He hasn't done anything to deserve it. Michael Jordan's done so much, and here we are, less than a year later. He's doing the same thing again.
Let's start this. Is Michael Jordan or LeBron James the best ever?
Say that again.
Michael Jordan or LeBron James the best ever? I just want to know from your guys what you think.
So I guess let me ask you for some clarity. Are you asking for like the cumulative totality of their career, or are you asking for a singular moment in time?
Thank you. Good question. I'm asking for a cumulative thing of their career.
Yeah. So again, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up in the 90s as a Jordan guy. I loved like Jordan is the best singular player I've ever seen in my life. But if you're asking for you can't. It's LeBron, I think, right? I mean, like he's done it over a sustained period. He's in his 40s now, like still one of the top 10 players in the NBA. He's never got injured. like it's LeBron, I think, right?
Yes,
Nate?
100%. I do. There's no other question. Like he is. He's the GOAT, man. He is the Tom Brady
Now, if
of
I
the
had
NBA.
one player in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, my answer is Michael Jordan. And I don't think it's particularly close. At his peak, in comparison to where he was with his contemporaries, I always felt like Jordan is the better player for the moment and for the season. And I maintain that. Like, I think he had a better peak, but
So we're
LeBron
talking
had a
about
better
clutch.
career.
Are we talking about
Yeah.
clutch?
Clutch and just like at his peak, like there was such a discrepancy between him and number 2, more so than it ever was with LeBron and number 2. Like we always had, like LeBron was always in the mix for the superstars. But I feel just like I feel like for a singular season or a singular game or a singular series, it's Michael Jordan for all 3 of those. For me.
Oh, good. So we're on the same page. Good.
But who had a better career? It's LeBron.
God damn it. What?
I agree. And if I'm with Wally on the singularity piece, it's probably my top 3 is Jordan, Kobe, and then LeBron.
Okay, so you would be too. Jordan the best. Kobe second, then LeBron. That's fair.
I don't know. I don't know about Kobe at number 2.
What? Who would you put there?
For
LeBron?
clutch, for clutch in a I don't know.
Well, in the definition of what you said,
I put
the
Magic
one-
Johnson. I put Larry Bird. I think like
Oh, I love Larry Bird.
there's other players. I love Kobe Bryant. I love Kobe Bryant, but I feel like his status has gotten inflated artificially to a certain extent. And it's hard to say that because I feel like an asshole saying it.
No, it makes sense.
But I
It
feel
makes
like
sense.
he's a really good NBA player, a all-time great NBA player. But I don't feel like he's in that top 3 personally. I feel bad saying. I feel really bad saying.
Give it your top 3. Top 3. On camera, let's go.
For me,
Yep. Yeah.
oh boy, that's a tough question.
I know.
I just did it. There's no question in my mind. My top 3. Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron.
It's probably Jordan, LeBron.
Wait, so Jordan first, LeBron second?
LeBron, Kareem. I'm gonna put Kareem at 3.
Well, that's 3.
Put,
That's 3. That's 3. That's all we need. Thank you.
that's what I'm doing.
Kareem is number 3, huh?
So you put Jordan. Well, to be fair, you put Jordan above LeBron.
So this is the framing. I'm thinking the best careers, the 3 best NBA careers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. LeBron had a better career than Jordan. The 3, I'm gonna put. Yeah, I'm still gonna. I'm sticking with what I said. Jordan, LeBron, Kareem. And then I might even put Wilt 4th. I might put Bill Russell 5th. I might slide Magic in front of Magic and Bird. You can't put them any more than one apart from each other. But Magic, Bird, Kobe, that's the tier. I think Kobe's in that tier, which is not an insult, by the way. Like that's not an insult. I just feel like he's on that second tier with Magic and Bird. I think Shaq's right there too.
I put Russell first. 11 championships. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Jordan second, and then LeBron third. And I love me some Larry Bird, by the way. That guy was amazing. That's my top 3.
Solid. That's solid. Solid. We could debate on this all day.
But we could. And I might change my mind. like
tomorrow. Yeah.
I would too. I mean, it's probably like the top two, and then everybody else is tied for third. Everybody else is in. Larry Bird's on that list. Magic's on that list. Shoot, probably throw anybody on there from the Dream Team. I mean,
No, no, I don't think so. I mean, I love Charles Barkley. I love Patrick Ewing.
Right,
They're
right.
not they're not all
Yeah,
time.
boys.
They're not all time.
I was shamed away from Larry Bird because I said Larry Bird once and I got shamed away from that.
Birds, you can make an argument for top 5 for Bird for me.
I would
But
love
like
to.
the problem is like 5 through 9 is almost interchangeable. So I don't know. But you can't, in good conscience, you can't put Bird ahead of Magic. I can't.
No, but you can't.
Magic won 5 championships. Bird won 3. Magic won the call. You know what I mean? Like I can't. And you're talking about Homer, right? Magic's got to be ahead of Bird.
And then Magic came back. It came back. Oh,
Magic has 5 championships. Bird has 3. That's how I'd measure that.
yep. It's hard. It's so.
Having said that, Bird won 3 straight MVP awards, right? Magic never did that.
Yep. Well, boys, that's all I got. If you guys got some topics that you want to discuss any further,
Maybe not, but thank you guys both for
now or forever hold your
tonight.
peace.
I appreciate that.
Okay. I do have a question for you though.
Yep.
Before we go,
Yep.
have you seen the movie Constipation?
What? No, I'm not.
No.
Me either. It hasn't come out yet. That was my dad joke for the evening.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Til'ton the Scales, and we look forward to having you back next week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Your opinions matter. Your feedback matters.